Welcome, 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 welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to my channel. I know I've been gone for a long time. Y'all probably missed me. Y'all probably didn't, but welcome back. If you're new here, this is Weird Film Girl ASMR, and I am the weird film girl in question. But I just want to really welcome you all here. Welcome all of y'all back. It's nice to have y'all back. It's nice to see y'all. Why did I say see y'all? I don't see y'all. Y'all see me. But just a little update. So I am back for the summer. I'm back home. The last time I checked, it said that I posted a video 2 months ago. 2 months ago. And that's a long time to be away. And so I really want to be a lot more consistent with this channel because I really do enjoy doing these videos, and I do enjoy ASMR. I love me some ASMR, and so I want to be a lot more consistent with the videos that I'm posting. I'm planning to post some from my camera that I have. I'm just trying to get the whole setup and make sure that the lighting is good and all of that, because if you're going to be watching the video, it needs to be done well, and I care about the quality of the video. And so just be on the lookout for those videos. But yeah, I've just been here at home for the summer, and I've really been trying to enjoy being off without any responsibility. So like no academic work and things like that. Like I've been trying to enjoy my work, because I feel like with graduate school I was getting really burnt out, and that's no bueno, no bueno, no bueno. That's no good. So I really wanted to enjoy, and one of the things I've been doing this summer to enjoy myself is reading books, reading books, reading books, reading books. And I love reading books, but with graduate school, it just felt like I had no time to read for fun. It was all reading for assignments. So I'm gonna tell y'all in this video about the books that I've been reading this summer, and also the books that I've read this year. So let's get our list. And these are the books that I've been reading. These are the physical books that I've read. And this is not all. I'm gonna tell y'all about two other videos. Two other books that I've read. One was audiobook, and the other one was just downloading on my phone, and I had been reading it off my phone, so I don't have a physical copy of those two books. So let's start. So the first book that I'm going to be telling y'all about is, let me start by saying this. Books that I like to read are, I like to read a lot of horror novels. I like to read a lot of scary and spooky stuff. And I also love to read like mystery, psychological thrillers, and the types of characters I like weird characters. I like the disturbed characters, and I like those unhinged freaks. Let's just put it that way. I like the unhinged freaks. I like those characters where they're doing something very unorthodox, something that's not very normal, or they're in a situation that's not very normal, and they're navigating that situation. So like all the unhinged female characters, I love that. And if that's not your cup of tea, or you don't like that, then that's completely fine. Different strokes for different folks, but that's what I like. And I also really like Southern Gothic books. So these books that I'm going to tell you about also are very Southern Gothic, and I'm going to tell you all about some more Southern Gothic books later on after I read them, but that's my headspace. So the first book that I'm going to tell y'all about is I Am Not a Serial Killer by Dan Wells. And I Am Not a Serial Killer follows this boy who is 15 named John Wayne Cleaver. And he is obsessed with serial killers. He loves to learn about serial killers. He loves to learn the patterns of serial killers and why they do the things that they do and how they operate. So that's it. That's been his thing. But it's pretty weird for a 15-year-old boy to be interested in those types of things. And one of the things that also you have to know in this book is that John is a diagnosed sociopath. So he does go to therapy, and his therapist kind of alludes to the fact that he is a sociopath, but he doesn't want to tell John that because he knows that John will cling to that label and go even deeper down this pathway of being a sociopath and acting in those ways. And the novel really follows John because John is trying to operate as a normal human being and as a normal person, but he doesn't see himself as normal, and he doesn't see himself as a normal person. And with John, he has this set of rules that he tries to follow and he tries to live by to be a normal person, to fit in with his peers and, kind of engage with his peers. And one of the things that he does is he befriends this kid named Max, and he doesn't really like Max at all. He finds Max to be really annoying, actually, but he figures that he needs to have at least one friend to keep him grounded and keep him normal and remind him that he's in this whole journey to being normal. But that's not the only thing. John has a mom and her twin sister. So his mom and her twin sister own a funeral home and a mortuary, and John likes to help them out in the funeral home. And the thing about it is, John finds a lot of satisfaction in helping his mom and his aunt in the funeral home. But the thing is, his mom doesn't want him to be here in the funeral home because she doesn't think that this is an appropriate place for a 15-year-old boy to be. And she can tell that John has that morbid fascination with serial killers and with dead bodies and things like that, so she doesn't want him to be around those things. So it gets to a point where John's mom bans him from coming to the funeral home because she feels like he needs to find other habits that are more healthy for him. And John flips. This makes him so angry because the funeral home is one of the things that he clings to, one of the things that keeps him normal, that keeps him grounded, that keeps him, from not being a serial killer. And it really just follows John through this progression because that's not the only thing. There's an actual serial killer in town. And the thing about this serial killer is he's obliterating the bodies and taking different parts from it. So I think in one instance, this guy is missing an kidney. Somebody's missing some lungs, real Hannibal Lecter type stuff. So the police officers, they're trying not to explicitly say this is the work of a serial killer. They don't want to say that because they don't want to cause a panic in town. But John, who is the serial killer expert, can obviously tell that this is a serial killer, and he wants to find out who it is. He wants to study these things because he knows that how serial killers operate. He knows that this is not the end and that this person will attack again. And something that's very interesting is that at the crime scenes, there's this black sludge at each of the crime scenes, and at first they're thinking maybe this is car oil or car grease or something like that. But when they send it into the lab, they figure out that the material isn't car grease or car oil. It's actually something organic and something living. So this is something that came out of a living being. And that makes it a lot more scary because they can't identify what it is. The novel progresses as John sees this drifter in town, this really strange guy, and he's like, you know, this guy may be the killer. Let me go stalk him. So he sees the guy, asks his neighbor, Mr. Crowley, and Mr. Crowley's like this old guy that John interacts with. Like, John will teach him how to use his phone, teach him how to use the camera on his phone. He will plow the snow for Mr. Crowley and his wife. You know, that type of stuff. So John's like, Mr. Crowley's a normal guy. And John is like, oh my God, Mr. Crowley's about to get murdered by this man. And so he follows them out to a lake that Mr. Crowley takes the man out to. And while the drifter does appear to have bad intentions when it comes to Mr. Crowley, and appears like he's about to kill Mr. Crowley suddenly, his hand suddenly morphs into this like sharp claw, and he kills the man. And John is like dumbstruck at this moment because Mr. Crowley is the killer this entire time. But not only is he the killer this entire time, but he's also a monster and a demon. So the novel follows John as he continues to stalk Mr. Crowley and try to like suss Mr. Crowley out and see like what exactly is this thing. And this also takes a deeper and darker turn for John because not only is he stalking Mr. Crowley, but he's starting to get even more scarier to his mom because he's becoming so absorbed with figuring this thing out and figuring out this killer and figuring out this thing that his own psyche begins to suffer. Like, he begins to lash out at his mom. He begins to get a lot more morbid. At one point, he even reveals to Max that he doesn't even like Max, that he's only hanging out with Max to keep him like grounded. And that causes a rift between John and Max because Max likes John, but he finds John to be like creepy and off-putting, but you know, he's trying to stick around for the long run. And to hear John tell him that I don't actually like you breaks something in Max. So their friendship is fractured. And eventually everything starts to come to a head because the more that John stalks Mr. Crowley, the more that Mr. Crowley starts to pick up on the fact that John knows what he is. And so John eventually goes to Mr. Crowley's house where Kay, Mr. Crowley's wife, is. And he kind of like knocks her out or something like that, but like he's not trying to hurt her, but also there he gets kind of a sick satisfaction out of the fact that he's hurt this woman and like he could do something to her. And so he threatens Mr. Crowley, and it's basically like, you know, you can get out of town or you can leave or you can like die or something like that. And they finally get to a standstill and like a head-on thing where Mr. Crowley knows for sure that John knows, and John and his mom kill Mr. Crowley at their funeral home after Mr. Crowley threatens John's mom and threatens to kill John's mom. But the thing that is very interesting about it is, and also to tell you what the black sludge is, the black sludge is Mr. Crowley as this creature deteriorates the longer that he goes on. So he has to get organs from other people and replace them with his own organs. So like at one point he gets an arm from somebody, he gets some lungs from somebody, and the sludge is his old organs and that have like disintegrated fully. So the thing about Mr. Crowley as this thing is, he's not doing this to necessarily be evil, but inherently he is evil because he's killing people. But he's doing this because he doesn't really have a choice. He has to do this in order to survive. So he doesn't like the fact that he has to do this. Mr. Crowley like the image of him and even the skin that he's wearing isn't Mr. Crowley. He stole the identity from the man previously and just assumed the identity, and he fell in love with Kay as their life went on. But he also feels guilty about this because he has essentially taken this man's life and his wife, and he feels like a fraud. And there's this interesting thing because John cannot get over the fact that this thing is able to love and care for people, and he hasn't been able to do that himself. So that's the end of that book. The next book that we are going to be talking about is The Eyes Are the Best Part. The eyes are the best part. The eyes are the best part. And this is a novel by Monica Kim, and y'all, it's so good. So this is a story about, and if I pronounce any of the names wrong, I apologize, but I just want to be respectful as I can. So The Eyes Are the Best Part is a novel about Jiwon. I think it's how you say it. Jiwon. It's spelled like Jiwon. So Jiwon. And she is about 18 or 19. She's a college age student, and the story follows her mother and her sister as their father leaves their family for kind of, in a sense, another family, another woman. He just ups and leaves like out of nowhere, like without a word, basically. And this breaks Jiwa's mom's heart because she can't understand why would her husband leave her and leave their family like this. And this is also a huge point for Jiwa and her sister Jiyeon. And Jiwon is the older sister and the oldest daughter, so she's trying to hold it together for her mom and her sister. And her mom goes into like this really deep depression where she's depressed about her husband leaving. And so Jiwon basically has to take care of the family at that point. And one of the things that they do is they eat I'm trying to make sure y'all can see me. One of the things that they do is they eat dinner together, and their mom will make fish. And I think it's very popular in Asian culture to eat the eyes of fish because I think the belief is that it brings good luck. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments, please do. But that it brings good luck. And so Jiwon and her sister have always been like disgusted by the fact that their mom will eat the eye of the fish. But one day their mom cooks the meal, and Jiwon doesn't want to make their mom upset, so she eats the eye. And what she figures out is that she really likes it. She really likes the taste of it. She really likes the texture of it. And this starts this descent into madness and rage and cannibalism for Jiwon because she starts to crave the texture of an eye. She starts to crave eyeballs, y'all. And she starts to even dream about eyeballs. And this is where things get even more devastating for their family. Their mom starts to date this guy named George, and George is white. And George, let me get started on George. George is this man who used to be in the army, and George obviously has a very obvious fetish for Asian women. Let's just say it at that. But he has a fetish for Asian women. And so Jiwon and Jiyeon, they obviously don't like George because they can see right through him. But their mom seems happier than ever with George. She's just like, oh my God, this is this amazing man around now. Like, this is cloud9 for their mom. And the novel progresses because Jiwon is in college, and she meets two people that are very important to her life. She meets this guy named Jeffrey in her class, and Jeffrey is also white. But the thing about Jeffrey is Jeffrey's one of those white guys that likes to be so progressive. Like, he knows the way. Like, he's the expert on feminism. He knows struggle. He understands oppression. Like, he's one of those guys. So a lot of the time he's just like making these comments of like, yeah, like we should support women, but he's doing it in such a way that it comes off very fake. Like, one of those guys who's obviously trying way too much. But Jeffrey takes an interest in Jiwa, and he kind of wants to be together with her. And so there's also Alexis. Alexis is an African American girl in Jiwa's class who also takes an interest in her. But Jiwa is very interested in Alexis because she just feels like Alexis is just so cool. She likes Alexis a lot. And so Alexis and Jiwa start this friendship. And one night when Jiwa goes to hang out at Alexis's house, she goes to like walk back and stuff like that, and this homeless man tries to rob her. And Jiwa kills him in self-defense. But the crazy thing is, y'all, she eats his eyes. She like eats his eyes, and it satiates this hunger in her, but it also disgusts and scares her because she's like, what's going on with me? And there's this thing going on through the book of this rage that is in Jiwa because of her father leaving, because of how intense her mother's depression was, because of her having to step up as the older daughter and the older child to take care of the family. In a lot of the novels, she tries to like placate her mom and her sister. Like, she'll go along with things that her mom is saying because she doesn't want her mom to be upset or to feel depressed anymore. She doesn't want to see her to get to that depressive state anymore. And there's even moments where she'll lie to her sister and to comfort her because she knows that her sister needs comforting, and as the older sister, she has to do it. And so as the novel progresses, George is just like the worst, y'all. So eventually George and her mom get engaged to be married, and this is all like really fast. Like, this is like months, and it's very clear that George doesn't respect them or their culture and doesn't see the difference in Asian culture because, mind y'all, Jiwa and her family are Korean. They're Korean, but George takes them to a Chinese restaurant. And it's so very clear that they don't like the food, but but her mom is just trying to go along with it because she likes George, and Jiwa and Jiyeon are just going along with it because they love their mom. And the crazy thing is, George even looks at one of the waitresses who is Asian and is checking her out, all while the women are right there, like while Jiwa and her family are right there. So crazy. So Jiwa goes deeper and deeper and deeper into this rage and obsession because every night she has a dream about eyeballs, but they're George's eyeballs because the novel makes it very clear that George has these very blue eyeballs. And so every night when Jiwa goes to sleep, she dreams about his eyeballs, and she dreams about like tasting them. So there's this hunger and this like anger that's building up constantly within her. And the novel, and as this is going on, Jiwa and Alexis are getting more and more closer, and she's getting less close with Jeffrey. And Jeffrey starts to get like really mad about this. He's like, oh, Alexis is planting all of these ideals in your head. And he's getting like really jealous and possessive of Jiwa, even though they're not even dating. And there's also a plot point that I think that I should mention about the fact that Jiwa had a group of friends, but once she figured out that her group of friends were about to go off to college without her, she started manipulating and sabotaging them, and they figured out about it, and the friendship was like fractured from that point on. But there's this thing there to know that Jinhua is very manipulative and will lie easily, but it does appear like she's just like innocent in doing all of it. And so the novel ends with Jiwa confronting George because she figures out that George is cheating on her mom with another woman, and she's confronting him. And Jiwa and George both end up in the hospital because they get into like this big fight, and Jiwa, Jeffrey comes to visit Jiwa, and y'all, she tricks him into going to visit George's room, where she's went and killed George and like took his eyes out and ate them. And she frames Jeffrey for the murder, and Jeffrey gets sent to jail for George's murder. And so Jiwa's like, everything's good, and back in the world, the land is healing. And yeah, that's how the novel ends. And I like this novel. I feel like the characters of George and Jeffrey were a little one note. I think I would have liked that a little bit more complexity with their characters. It was still satisfying to see what happened to them, but I think I would have loved a lot more complexity to their characters, a little bit more. But you are, that's my girl for real. And as an older daughter, I could understand a lot of where she was coming from with her anger and her feeling of responsibility of having to take care of her mom and younger sister, with her mom now being a single mother. So I understood where she was coming from with that. And yeah, that's, the eyes are the best part. Crazy, I know, crazy, crazy, crazy. It's very crazy. I have I have 3 more books that I'm gonna tell y'all about and explain to y'all, but I'm gonna do it in a separate video because I don't want this video to be too long, because I don't know how some people may feel about a long video like this. So part 2 of me over explaining these books and telling y'all what I've been reading coming soon, okay? I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I hope that you're having an amazing year, an amazing summer, and that everything is going really well for you. Please leave me a comment of some other books that you would recommend that you think that I would possibly like based off the description that I gave y'all. And yeah, make sure to subscribe. Like, if you have any suggestions of videos that you would like to see, just let me know. Okay, bye. I love y'all.